Originally, God had made a covenant with Abraham, a covenant that was between him and the people that he called his own. And the problem with this covenant, however, was that the people thought it was just about them. Only this specific group, the Hebrews, the Jews, and nobody else. In fact, the way they used this covenant was to exclude other people from being a part of what God was doing. When Jesus comes into the scene, however, he starts to change things. He starts to become a part of communities that were never part of the people. In fact, he intentionally went out of his way to minister to those who were marginalized, to those who were kicked out of the community, to those who were told specifically, you cannot be a part of what God is doing because of your race, because of your disease, because of your affliction, because of many different scenarios. And yet Christ, God himself, chose to go be a part of these people and invite them and bring them back into his community. When he sat at the Last Supper with his disciples, he broke the bread, he passed out the wine, and he blessed it. And he said, this wine is the blood, my blood, of the new covenant between God and his people. His people. Once again, his people. But what Christ was saying here very clearly by his ministry is that God's people were not just one set of people. His people were the entire world, all the nations. See, what he was doing at this table was inviting people, in fact, at this time, 12 men who had all kinds of fallibilities to come and sit with God himself and become a part of community. We're commanded to do the same thing. And so as Christians, we gather as a community and we practice the sacrament of communion, where we sit at the table with Christ himself, realizing that he has made room for us who are not deserving, us who are foreigners, us who the prophet Paul says were grafted into this tree. So the question for you is quite simply, what are you doing to make room at the table? What are you doing to make room for the foreigner, for the excluded, for the marginalized, for those who are, for whatever reason, not typically invited into our lives? If we are to truly be like Christ, then we must make room at the table.